Well, Toyota's back in the news again. 591,000 vehicles to be recalled due to digital display issues on the dash. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but it is just a trend. It's a trend that we haven't seen in a long time, especially from Toyota, and everyone is seemingly falling into this trap where software is eating our vehicles. The digital world of software and ECUs is just completely corrupting what we used to have as reliable, sort of more analog vehicles. We're going to talk about this Toyota recall and a bunch more. Let's dive in. All right, so starting out with this Toyota recall, the dash going black, essentially. This affects a lot of vehicles. I mean, the Lexus LS, RX, TX, the 4Runner, Camry, Crown Signia, the GR Corolla, the Highlander, the RAV4, plug-in hybrid RAV4, RAV4 Prime, Tacoma, and Venza. So quite a few vehicles. And look, let's be honest, they're probably using the same dash in the 2026s too. You know, they don't want to stop sale on a lot of these 26s. Now, Toyota says the estimated percentage with the defect, this is the first time I think I've ever seen the estimated percentage is 100% of vehicles are affected by this. Now, the defect is a little weird. It says, due to the improper programming of the combination meter, unnecessary data is repeatedly written to a memory device in a combination meter when the combination meter operates, causing the memory device to deteriorate earlier than intended. That's weird that they say the memory device deteriorates earlier than intended. I wonder if it's like a solid state drive on there. It also seems to be something that, like, when you turn the car on or push the button, it just doesn't show you a display. And you can drive it. Most people aren't going to get in an accident. They're not going to have their display working, but most people can actually physically drive a car. Even if their display goes down, it's not going to necessarily cause a crash, but it's obviously a less than ideal problem. And if these cars start to get out of warranty, out of the 36,000 mile warranty, I would imagine these displays are going to be quite expensive. And so far, when you look at this, as of September 5th, 2025, they say that they've had 381 warranty claims with that 12.3-inch display. So 381 claims already, and these cars really aren't that old. So I think we're going to see this become a pretty big problem. Toyota didn't originally want to do this recall because it's not really, considering that people can still drive the car, it's not like disabling the car or causing it to behave erratically. They didn't feel like it was a safety issue, but NHTSA force them to do it anyway. So it looks like they're going to conduct a voluntary safety recall. And if you're wondering, keeping these vehicles out of warranty, just the dash, this part, there are a bunch of different part numbers in the NHTSA document. I just picked a couple and tried to find some in the United States. $881. I mean, they ranged anywhere from like $500 to $1,400 for these dash assemblies. So I don't know if you need the whole assembly or if you can actually replace the individual memory modules. But the beauty of having a digital dash that stores all this information, that's basically a little mini computer in your dash, you're going to have the same problems that people have with their laptops or whatever else. In other news related to software eating our vehicles and making them unreliable, the Jeep Grand Cherokee hybrid electrics recall about 92,000 Jeep Grand Cherokees. This includes the 2022 through 2026 Jeep Grand Cherokees, and they say that the vehicle can lose drive power due to software errors with the hybrid control processors. So again, massive amounts of complexity. Everybody loves hybrids and EVs, and oh my gosh, they're so quiet and nice, and they are when they're running. But I don't think most people really understand how much technology is in these cars and just how easily they can get tipped over and just stop working. They are not resilient vehicles that they're building these days. Another very recent recall with Mazda's, 105,000 vehicles are going to be recalled, 2024 through 2025 CX-90s and the 25 CX-70. So it says when fuel-containing ethanol is used, isn't that almost every pump contains at least 10 or 15% ethanol? You can get some ethanol free here where I live in Colorado, but not a lot. I mean, most gas stations don't have ethanol free. So that says the ethanol in the fuel may react with the materials on the sending unit circuit board in the subtank. This reaction can create buildup and interferes with the gauge's function and may cause the display on the instrument cluster to read incorrectly. So my assumption is they're going to have to clean that or replace that. It's interesting that, I mean, this sort of indicates that this couldn't have been tested with ethanol fuel for very long. Here's another one. This just makes it feel like we're driving like, do you remember those old model vehicles that you'd build? You know, they'd be all delicate. You'd build them up and paint them, and then you couldn't touch them because they'd break. Here's a Chrysler recalls 172,000 Jeep Wagoneers over door trim. Apparently, the door trim can detach and may not have been installed properly. And here's another big one, 569,000 Hyundai Palisades. Those are a very popular vehicle. And you have to wonder, the Telluride, right? It's got you got to include the Tellurides in those. I would assume they use the same seatbelts. Anyway, they're recalled over their seatbelts. They said they have problems with the seatbelt buckles in the front seats and the second row window seats. 2020 through 2025 Hyundai Palisades. Hyundai is advising occupants to make sure that you firmly put your seatbelt in and with a quick and direct motion. So now you have to actually think about how you put your seatbelt, and then you got to check your seatbelt because it actually might just come out because they're so delicate. It says improperly produced seatbelt buckles combined with slow insertion of the seatbelt tongue plate may prevent the seatbelt buckle from fully latching. It says it's especially noticeable in cold temperatures. Interesting. Once again, how much testing did they do with these things, right? But hey, I wouldn't worry about it. It's only safety. And I think this is the last one I'll kind of cherry pick from the September recall list. Another Ford backup camera recall has been announced, this time 1.5 million vehicles because the rear camera images may appear inverted, distorted, or blank. It includes a lot of those vehicles, as you see here. But once again, I put backup cameras in some of my cars that didn't have them, and they were just these cheap backup cameras that, you know, they came with Amazon products, like they'll give you a free backup camera with a purchase of a Kenwood deck or something like that. And they've worked fine ever since then. So you just have to wonder, how cheap are the cameras and the harnesses and the wires that they use in these cars in order to affect this many vehicles for so long? I mean, this recall is hilarious because it's been just going on forever. So I think it's pretty evident that the automotive industry is just going to go through some serious growing pains with, especially related to software integration. You see what they're doing with NVIDIA and AI and all these things coming into our cars. I don't think it's going to get better really soon. We're probably going to see this maybe start to stabilize, I don't know, 2 or 3 years out, 4 years out. I think it's going to take a while for these manufacturers to really stabilize their software and get everything more reliable. Part of that is the parts that they put into these vehicles need to be a little bit higher quality. I mean, the way they cut corners with hardware, I would imagine they're really going to cut corners with software and ECUs and computer technology because they can stand to save a lot of money. It will be interesting to see how long these cars truly last, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. This is a huge reason why you see the used car market just skyrocketing. All the old Toyotas, man, they're like gold right now on the used market. Even a lot of other brands, people are starting to just find other vehicles that are really low tech and at least semi-reliable and repairable compared to the new Guard. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.